Okay, welcome everyone. This is a big time for us. We are Dr. Everin Vanderkratz, who I have an unbelievable admiration for, working out of the Netherlands and the founder of the World Water Community, which is a way to connect us all together. The World Water Community, is sponsoring these new water salons where we are inviting everyone to come into the room to meet each other, to find ways to communicate and talk. And we want to acknowledge Everin's work, and we would love to invite you to join the World Water Community. And Everin has put a link in for you in the chat so you can find us. Not necessary to join to be part of our community, but it sure helps when we can connect up and begin to draw on each other's love and resources. And wow, I'm so grateful for that she's done that. She's my counterpart for the Hydration Foundation, which I founded to advance uh, water science into public awareness and better hydration. And so we're linking up all these different approaches, and we're just using our technological capacity to create a room, a room together where we can find each other and have a conversation. So this is very informal. It's a inviting you into a room, and I wanted to talk a little bit about what a salon is, because there's a very venerable tradition. Everin, is everything okay? People can hear? Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you want to join us with your camera on, I do want to let you know we're recording, because we'll send this out as a replay to people who couldn't be here today. And we will love to see your faces, but it's fine if you don't want to have your camera on. It's just joyous to to see your human face. So again, this idea of a room, creating a container. And I wanted to share a little bit about the lineages of salons, because salons have a venerable history. And so the first part of our conversation today is, what is a salon? Because it has a fantastic history and idea. And the most important thing I want to share is, it is a room. So we've created this virtual room together, but it's a room in history that was a specific room. It was a reception room. And the room was a reception room, usually in urban settings, in urban cities. A reception room filled with beautiful furniture to invite people in, because what were they receiving? They were receiving the opportunity to hear new ideas. And that's really what we wanted this to represent: the opportunity to hear new ideas in a room together, and consequently think about water in new ways and new perceptions. So that's why it's a water salon. And the idea of the reception room was there, created for people to receive new ideas. So we're inviting an openness among ourselves. It's very informal. We're going to have a chance, as our genuine format, our regular format, where we'll open the room. We'll share some of the technology together, make sure everybody's able to get in and so forth. Just a easy opening there. And then we're going to have regularly presentations, and they're not formal lectures. They're not going to be like so many of us are used to hearing science lectures, or people talk about their particular ideas. What we're doing is bringing some ideas into your presence. And that will just be short. We'll do it. It won't take more than 20 minutes. We might even not take that long, but then we will open it up so we can speak together, and it'll be a facilitated collection together of the ideas that you've heard, or your responses to the ideas that got presented today. And then we will close that room at 12:45. 5 minutes before, we're going to have a little practice. We didn't know what to call it. Practice session, tip, but something connected to the ideas that we've heard today that we can actually bring into our own bodies or our own realms. So there'll be a 5-minute little thing at the end, and that we'll practice together. And this exactly is based on the model that I ran for the TED events in New York for 9 years. So there's a format. It's very simple. There's a little talk, then there's a little ideas collection, and then we'll close with something that's practical. And then that will be it. So there's your format. It's really simple and clean and clear. And the new idea that I wanted to bring into this presence today about water, because the opening was, what is a salon? We covered that. What is water? Well, water. So water, what more specifically, not only what is water, but what are the new ideas about water that are beginning to trickle into our conversations, our vocabulary, and the consciousness. And the first thing I wanted to bring to your attention, because not everyone is in this science in the same way, is that we're operating with some new information about water that we didn't have, some new ideas about water. That water isn't just vapor, liquid, or ice. That water has more forms than we realized. And we want to thank the work of Dr. Gerald Pollack for identifying a fourth phase of water, which is considered plasma, a plasma-like or gel-like. Dr. Pollack calls it easy water. I'm just curious about, can I just see a show of hands of how many people are familiar with Gerald Pollack's work that are here? Yeah, so it's out there now. When we started in 2016, we were crazy. In fact, when we started publishing on easy water, we barely got out the door alive because this was such a crazy idea. In the meantime, they've discovered there's 19 phases of ice alone. So what we're now talking about is not only a fourth phase of water as a new idea, but the possibility that there's many more phases of water, that there's new ways to talk about water as domains and clouds within water that carry different labors. So the new idea I want to connect you to is that the idea that phases of water or domains of water do different kinds of labor. So vapor does some kind of labor that liquid water or gel water doesn't do, or that gel water does specifically, or easy water or plasma water does kind of biological labor that other forms of water doesn't. So it's a really important new idea that we're bringing, that this plasma form is able to carry electricity and charge in a way that neutral liquid water or vapor doesn't quite at the same amount or effort. So that's a very new idea that we want to make sure we're together learning and thinking and having that vocabulary. The next new idea I wanted to bring is how much your body is made of water that we weren't talking about before. That water, that your body is made of far more water than we ever imagined. And if we can start thinking about ourselves as water essences, I think it's going to change how we age, definitely, how we move about our day, how we conceive of ourselves as a person in the world, how we conceive of others as fellow bodies of water. And the idea that when we think of water or ourselves as water beings, we kind of with people ask me, well, why don't I slosh around if I'm that made of that much water? But if we turn that concept or that question into looking at ourselves as a collection of cells and of microbes, which we now know from the microbiome how much we're made of microbes. Each one of those microbes, each one of those cells is its own body of water. So now when we put that whole package together, we realize that, wow, every one of our cells is a body of water. Every one of the microbes that live within us is a body of water, and they're all in this vessel, jostling around and doing amazing different kinds of labors. So you're not just made of easy water, you're also made of liquid and vapor, and who knows what other kinds of water that we haven't yet identified. So that idea, the first idea that there's phases of water that we haven't even discovered yet. They each do different kinds of labor. They are informing us in ways that we didn't really understand. And we're very excited to be stumbling into this frontier science. Maybe I want to use a different word, frontier biology. And then the second new idea, wow, we are far more water than we ever realized, because of our cellular structure, our microbiome, and so many other features about how water works within this particular skin that we occupy. And that coming into that knowledge is going to change how we experience our own bodies. That's really it's really fun. It's a new way of thinking. So I in this idea of how much your water, came to me this presence of, well, what is it to be engaged with our bodies? Like, how do we relate to ourselves as water beings or water bodies? That, of course, is going to lead us to the question of hydration. It has to, right? So now we get to move into the idea of what is, like, how valuable is hydration to us? And it's not at all about getting glasses of water into you. The more water liquid water you absorb, the more you're hydrated. That's the sort of medical model or the current model that we're working with. But actually, hydration is very related to this labor of water. And I'm going to switch the word labor now to a slightly different thing to talk about what is water. Because we know water is wet. We know it's a material. It's actually a material. We can put our hands in it. We can put our hands in the air as material. We can put our hands in water. We can actually feel water. It's a material in the world, but that's only one thing it is. So there's three things I would like to lay out. It's a material. It's also a fuel. It's an energy source. Actually, all cellular biology, according to May Wan Ho, is run on water. It's all water-based. It's all water energized. It's all able to do its dynamic labor based on our biology is able to do its dynamic labor based on water. It's all a fuel that's run on water. So it's a material, it's a fuel, and then here's the new part. We're really loving the new idea. It's an information source. So in the past, we've understood water as a conductor of information. For example, we all know that water conducts electricity. We all know that. And we don't want to step in any puddle that a live wire and a storm is knocked down. We get that idea that water and electricity somehow create an incredible amount of energy. But water is also not just a conductor of information. We're now discovering water is information by the way it's, and this is only one form of thinking right now, by the way it's structured or the way it's organized or ordered, that in itself is a form of information. So water, new idea, three things. It's material, It's a fuel, it's an energy, and it's information. So if we now get this idea that this is how our body runs, it's what it's made of, and it's how it's informed or stays alive in the world, in the environment that we're in. We have a new way to think about ourselves as bodies of water. And I'm hoping that during our discussion time, people can kick in how they're thinking about themselves as bodies of water differently from getting new ideas about water. So I want to go back to the idea that hydration is central to being alive and being a body of water, and then what the purpose of hydration is in this context. So we know the purpose of hydration is to keep us moist as a material reality. We know that keeping hydrated allows us to have the energy to do the work of signaling, cell signaling, and body repair, but body construction. You need water to actually make new tissue. And thirdly, that we're getting informed by the amount of water that we have in our system. So from the work we have some beautiful research, lots of research on everybody. Probably there's so many people here who do their own research on water, but we can say that even a 2% loss of hydration, we've seen that you can identify measurable cognitive loss from a 2% loss of hydration. So hydration is really central to this idea. But now I would like to bring another new idea in, which is connecting hydration to perception. That hydration really runs our capacity to perceive, because we know that if we lose even 2%, our capacities go down. So my interest is in, what if we got fully hydrated? What new perceptions would be open to us? I think that's a very interesting new idea, to really think about hydration as opening new perceptions, and that possibility that there are things to perceive that we haven't opened up our capacity to do. And especially if you are thinking, the brain is 80% water, and that's our executive function. The heart is full of electrical impulses that is sending out information all the time. How can we develop that and enhance that? And first of all, engage that as part of our conversation, our new ideas. So with that said, I would love to open up our time to talk and listen to one another and respond to these ideas. So Everin, if you can make sure people can hear each other, we're just going to open the floor, and I will, help connect ideas or people, or I'll just help facilitate or stay out of the way. But we would love to have some of your, in this new salon, this reception of new ideas, any responses you've had to these ideas I presented today, or ideas you might have about water that you would like to bring to us. Everin, how do we do this? Raise hands, or?
They can unmute themselves, so show themselves, and if they want, they can also raise the hand. But you can also just start talking, or I see Milan.
Let's just start talking.
Yes, I'll volunteer to go first. Can everyone hear me good?
Yeah. Yes, and please tell us your name. Yes.
Yes, my name is Milan. I've been
obsessed
Milan.
With water. Welcome.
Yeah. I've been obsessed with water since I was 12. My dad actually has been a water researcher since he was about 35. And he founded the Institute for Advanced Water Sciences, which ran for a while, and has met with Dr. Emoto at his lab, and just kind of been in the whole water world, which really up until now has been considered the crazy ones, the outcasts. I've seen how science has stigmatized anybody who really digs into these topics. And, it's given me a healthy respect and disrespect for science, mainstream science. So I've been asking a question, Gina, that you asked.
Can I just ask you? Can I ask you a question? Tell us your father's name, so we can also hold with you the work that he's done.
Sure, and he's still alive. Joseph Bender, or sometimes Joseph Bender, is what he went by.
Thank you, Joseph Bender.
Yeah, and so that question, Gina, is kind of I continually ask, what is water? Like, what is it really? Because there's so many layers to that question. And at this point in my research, what I've told people is, right now, what I can say water is to me, it's a portal through which consciousness or spirit is able to manifest in what we call physical form, which is energy in a certain pattern that we recognize, meaning that I've seen and worked with different scientists that were frequency imprinting in water with Kefir bacteria in a triple distilled irradiated lab vial, and could test it and there's nothing in it. But then 2 days later, it's so full of Kefir bacteria you can't see through it. So somehow they imprinted the energetic or spiritual realm, and through that water became a portal, which is interesting because when you look at ancient cultures and creation stories, a lot of them tend to talk about water and some massive vibration or God's voice over the water, and all of a sudden matter, what we call matter, started to form. So, to me, it's this portal, this key, this portal to another realm. It's connecting us. And since we're mostly water, the earth is mostly water, I look at everything as a container for water, is what I say. Everything is mostly just a container for water. So yeah, I mean, it's an endless journey in the deepest rabbit hole.
I'm taking your comments and I'm holding them in the container the idea that water is a matter, a material, and that material allows other materials to form, that we couldn't have a material world if water weren't the presence of that. That you're using the word portal. And so I get the relationship of what you just said to the conversation that we started is it's a material, a translator material. And I also, Milan, I also love, I think we could really have a important maybe context that we know that science, so I don't even know if I introduced myself as an anthropologist, but from the science point of view, we know that science is a limited description. It can't be anything more than an accurate description, but an accurate description of a very small slice of what else could be going on, right? So I think we can leave behind the fight with the scientists. Let them do their descriptions. But can we have larger conversations about what water is? So thank you. Anyone else? We have opened the room to have more comments come in. I see someone raising their hand.
Tried to do something.
Okay, good. We're back. Go ahead, Everin. I saw someone raise their hand. Were you able to unmute them? Or they can unmute themselves?
Can you hear me?
Yes. Who are you? Please give us your name.
I did put my name in at some point on this webinar, but I see I'm showing as me.
That's all right. Just tell us your name so we can hear it.
My name is Candace.
Hi, Candace.
And I am absolutely grateful for this invitation to this salon. And I'm delighted because I consider myself a water baby, although I'm a bit older than a baby. And I've been doing research on my own for the last 10 years and seeking a community that has some understanding of this research. And there is research being done in traditional science, but it's very sparse. And in the US, there was someone doing research, and he's no longer alive. So his work had been carried on by.
That? Can you tell us his name? So we. Oh yes,
Jean
indeed.
Baptiste. Yes, and then his research was also carried on by Luc Montaigne, who is now dead, unfortunately.
Yes,
but
Luc,
it was interesting that he picked it up.
Spirit.
Indeed, because so I have to just tell you that when it's a bit of a crazy maker, as you know, because you gather this information and test it out to find other people that it resonates with. And whenever I speak about this, the water in me gets excited. I can feel it in the tissues. And so I'm just really delighted, excited, keen to share information and hear what others have to say, and thrilled. So thank you so much.
I love how your comment relates to the new idea, not so new to many, that we are so much more water than we realize. Our bodies can actually get excited just thinking about water, that this can really happen, right? Fantastic. All right, Candace, thank you. Who else would like to comment on the ideas we brought into this salon today? By the way, we're not going to cover everything today about water. We're going to have many salons. Really? So don't worry. If your particular interest doesn't get said, we'll count on you to bring it to us. So we just have this time to start, right? Who else would like to talk? Comment.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes. Is that
okay.
Maya?
Before I tried to, yes, it's Maya. I tried to unmute and something weird happened with this whole thing. I kind of got kicked out and brought back in.
Well, here you are.
I'm delighted to be here today. Yes, my name's Maya Shaw Gale. I live in the U.S. in Arizona now, where water is scarcer in some places. I have been a somatic psychotherapist for over 40 years. And in that work, we are always going to the body and the unconscious that's held in the body for awareness, for memories, for information about how we're operating. And also, about 35 years ago, I had a profound experience with water where I was awakened to it as an intelligent presence. It communicated with me. It gave me a download of scientific information that 12 years later was announced as a new discovery. The water had given me that information. So I was carrying those two things, and more it has come together that I understand our deep knowing and intuition as we turn to the signals from the body is actually the water knowing. And so I love that you shared water is not just a conductor of information, but a source. And I had that direct experience. And now as I work with people, I'm realizing more and more, I'm helping them to access that wisdom or intelligence or information directly from the water. And
what
it's
a
just
fabulous comment. That's great. We will want to know more about your work. I think the chat is a great place to put contact information so anyone can find each other. And Maya, thank you for your particular comment, identifying water as a source of information and then giving us a personal experience that has actually happened to you. I hope in our practice today that we'll have time to sort of activate that in some way. So I don't know if it'll be successful, but we can try. So who else would like to make a comment? Yes. Go ahead. Just speak. I'll know if you're interrupting each other.
I can't see if there's someone else, so please tell me if someone wants to speak before me.
Go ahead.
Okay, hi, I'm Valeria. I'm Valeria. I'm based in Copenhagen, Denmark.
Welcome, Valeria.
Thank you. I come at water from somewhere between stories and science. I'm very engaged in bringing research and science and then stories, creators and storytellers together. And what occupies me right now very much around water is this, I just watched the David Attenborough Ocean, and it was just heartbreaking to see this mining of the bottom of the sea and the gray, dead sea bottom, and just that sort of destruction of water that's going on. And I don't know if what we can do, or if there are any thoughts around this reconnecting or healing of water or something like that. If any of
Valeria,
you,
I think you just said it. I think you just said the solution, which is our thoughts. Our thoughts will be carrying water's solution forward. And that fact that we're all together here, there's a collective care and love of water. We're willing to listen to it speak. We're willing to speak on its behalf. And I can't be anything but optimistic that water is so intelligent, interplanetarily intelligent, that we can assist it in its healing and evolution here, what's going on now. And this might be a good place to introduce. We promised to say a few words about the telepathy tapes that have gone viral and the new thinking that's coming online. I'm using that as a metaphor that that even thinking about water can have a impact on where water goes, or how it evolves, or what it can be doing in our material world. So if we think about material, energy, and information as this sliding gauge, right, that water's doing all that work at the same time. The new idea I wanted to present in this room is that those three things are all active at the same time, and they are really doing work in the world. It isn't just, Milan identified for us that water is a material that makes material happen. Well, this is that we can materially affect on much bigger scales than we ever thought. Okay, now that was my comment. I don't get to say any more. Who else wants to chime in? Thank you, Valeria. Yes. Surely someone else wants to say something.
GINA?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Who am I talking to? Who's talking to us?
Don St. John and
hello, Don.
Hi.
You certainly know about water in the body.
Yeah, the implications of the fact that we are mostly water are profound for how we perceive our very selves, for how we move, for our resilience, for the process of aging, for the quality of interpersonal connections. It's profound. Even the question, what does it mean to be a human being? Our teacher, Emily Conrad, said that water is the house of the divine. And we're mostly water. So, looking at those implications is a lifetime's work and a whole lot of fun.
John. Yes, thank you for bringing Emily Conrad into this conversation. And again, as we meet each other and find out other people who've been at work on water and how it resonates with each of us. Emily Conrad it was a dancer, choreographer, brilliant thinker, and her book, Don, what's the name of her most famous book? Walking on Earth? No, what is it?
Life on Land.
Life on Land. Yes,
Life
so Life on Land is a seminal book. You're definitely going to want to know about that work. It's beautiful. Thank you, Don, for moving that forward.
Yes.
On the theme of we are bodies of water. And we're just going to keep repeating the important ideas that we need to be holding for each other. Who else would like to comment?
I think Anna had raised her hand, and I have to unmute Charlotte because she sometimes speaks. So maybe she wants to speak, but Anna raised her hand. So Anna, go ahead.
What is it now?
Hello, Anna.
Oh, this is Charlotte. Charlotte, speak.
Hello, Charlotte.
Is she hearing us, Charlotte? I will mute her again, and then we will go to Anna. If she can open her Anna. Where are you, Anna?
Evan, I know you can help a little. Yes, she's disappeared.
Yeah, she was there. Okay.
Do you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
Anna.
yeah.
Great.
Oh,
Welcome,
thank
Anna.
you. Hi, thank you so much. Oh, Gina, I'm so happy to speak, to be in the salon because I'm such a big follower of all your wisdom, what you bring to the world. I really appreciate it so much. Well, I am a food concept designer, but I'm very passionate about water because deep in my soul, I feel it like my biggest task to bring water wisdom to the world. And I was so happy when you said about the third part of water, the information, because well, it's my point of view. No, I'm not looking the scientific way, just my intuitive way, from my being, from my soul side, what my soul is telling me. And so if we see that everything in the world, for me, it's the source where everything starts with creation is information. So information is the, let's say, the like the software, and from there on it goes through the consciousness, and the consciousness is directing the energy, and the energy is directing the material, so the material process. So for me, um, mat- material, energy, and information, they are one. So information is the water, and the material is the water. So all the layers of the law of creation starts and ends with water, because the information creates ourselves, and so we are water, we are the material part. And I think a strong believer that everything um, the information is formed by everything what we speak, our words, everything what the actions we take and the thoughts we have. So these are really the three most important elements for me, that our information will be positive or negative. If we have the positive thoughts, we have positive speeches and actions. We carry a positive information field, and the outcome, the material, will be positive, because the whole line of creation, like from information to material, will be a positive one. It's ordered, and in a certain order. And so
Anna,
think
I connect what you are saying to Milan's opening comment, which is great because it's the material in form. The word information has in form, right, built
yes.
into it. That's really beautiful. And then you said water is at the beginning and at the end. And I don't know about the end of water, but I do know we've expended our 20 minutes to discuss. So we're going to go on to the last 5 minutes. and have a chance to do a practice. But I see someone here that I'd like to just call into the comments for Michael Hobson. I see you. Are you here? Can you hear us? Because I would love to have you say in as brief a form as you can. Not, I'm not truncating you, but I know you've been observing how the autists are shaping water. And I think it's a deeply important new idea that we do not walk out of our time together without hearing someone who is actually seen in Jerry Pollack's lab. We don't want to out the information before it becomes published, but I would just love your observation, if you don't mind. I'm sorry to put you on the spot, but I saw you and it was like, okay, Michael, I'm coming.
It's okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's a real pleasure to be here with everybody today. And
It is.
So the first thing I want to say is that Albert St. George had said some many years ago that life was water dancing. And I think he got part of it right, but I think he missed a part too. And so my current thinking is, and it might resonate with some of you, that life is water dancing to the tune of God. So that takes into consideration the idea that we are patterns in water, and everything comes from water, and everything can go back into water. And I think that there will be some things that are coming, some of which I'm privy to, and maybe at some point down the road we'll be able to share some of those things. But I was so privileged to be able to go up to Jerry's lab. And Jerry and I have been collaborating together for probably coming up on 15 years now. And he's a very dear friend of mine. And so he was contacted by someone, a guy called Noah, who is a so-called non-speaker. And for those people that haven't been introduced to the telepathy tapes, I was introduced to them by a coworker. Our COO last year said, you have to listen to these tapes. And so I finally got to it, and it's one of those books that you can't put down. You just have to listen to all the episodes. And it changes everything, really. And so I was able to go up and witness Noah with a facilitator. And for those people that know about the telepathy tapes, you know what I mean. If not, go listen to the telepathy tapes and you'll understand. And I don't know the outcome of some of the experiments that they did because they did them in a really controlled environment. But I was able to witness a situation where an exclusion zone was grown around a little bit of ghee. And this is pretty well known that ghee is one of those hydrophilic surfaces that, if you put some microspheres in a petri dish and put a piece of ghee and some water in there, that an exclusion zone will form around the ghee, and it'll push the microspheres away, and so you can observe it pretty easily. And so, the idea is that exclusion zone, or interfacial water, sometimes people call it, becomes stable, right? And so the question is there anything that can affect that? And so it turns out that, at least preliminarily, that this non-speaker, Noah, can concentrate on the exclusion zone and grow it in real time. And you can observe it. And it can then shrink. And so I think that does a number of things, right? It connects the idea that our thoughts or what we call consciousness can have material effects that we can observe. And then it opens up that whole possibility about what we can do inside ourselves, and this whole notion of self-healing, that we really have to have the intention and the thoughts to be able to accomplish that. So, that's what I observed. And, I think more experiments are planned, and there's some exciting new things that are coming out, I think, as a result of the recognition that these so-called non-speakers probably, and this is speculation, are here to show us some things. They're here to deliver information. They're here to be a conduit through which information comes to us, and maybe an understanding that it doesn't come from us, but through us. And maybe that changes the whole idea of me and my research, or my discoveries, and the whole, and I'm sorry if I offend anybody, but the whole idea of the ego and my or our contribution. I think it changes things potentially. So, for what it's worth.
I agree with you, Michael. And I think, sorry to put you on the spot, but I just felt you were here. It's so important. We're a room of ideas, of presenting new ideas. I know not everyone had a chance to speak. That's fine, because we're here in each other's energies, which is incredibly important. So it's time to close our salon. We like to start on time and end on time, because people can blather forever, and we don't want to do that. We want to be clear about our intention. What did we accomplish today? I think we heard some new ideas to take with us, but I think we also didn't expect this to happen, but it did. We brought to each other lineages and people who have already done work on water that we can discover from each other. We've honored their names in this room. That's amazing. I love St. Georgie was brought up, Emily Comrade was brought up, Luc Montier was brought up, and Mei Wan Ho was brought up. Dr. Emoto was, we'll keep talking to each other and keep saying things out loud. And what we did is we gathered together here now to be a collective on behalf of water. Even if you weren't able to respond to the idea vocally or say anything, it all went in us. We've all vibrated it out. Now I have to give you a little practice, but because we've run out of time, I'm going to give it to you so you can go on and do it yourself. But the practice is very, very simple. Somewhere in your day today, maybe while you go to brush your teeth at night, but just put your fingers under running water and then press them to your eyes. And just ask water to help your perception, to help you see, to help you know more. It's just a request, a prayer, and it's both material, it's energetic, and it's information. And I'm just happy to share that very simple tip for increasing your perception, because it will. And I thank you all for coming. And our next salon is going to be Everin, what is it, the last Thursday of the month? And that topic will be around sound and frequency. We'll keep sharing new ideas with each other. And this has been an amazing blessing and time together. So, Everin, would you like to say anything at the end?
Well, water says it all.
Yes.
So let's do this practice. I think it's an amazing practice. And whenever you want to share more, go to the water community. It's this water salon is every third Thursday of the month at this time. And we'd love, I'd love to hear more of everybody of you, because as a scientist who is aware that there's a limit to science, we all have to collaborate and become strong together.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much, GINA, for doing this. It's amazing.
Yeah. So my eyes to all of yours. Bless you. Thank you. The room is now closed. There will be a replay so you can share it or listen again.